Good morning. Yes. No, I'm not going to swear. It's Friday. Good morning. All right. You've made it through another week. Congratulations. The first week of March, you can tick it off and say, I did it. I was there. I survived. Yes.
It is a morning. It is good.
It is. Listen, it's definitely chilly. Oh, compared to like a month ago, you could feel summer's on its way out.
As my mother would say, ooh, it's a little bit fresh.
We are banda.
Gushoguti. When my mother says fresh, gushoguti, jerseys, blankets, shawls.
Gushoguti is your foolproof phrase in Zulu, isn't it, Leanne?
Which means exactly.
Okay.
So there's a lot on the agenda this morning. We have plenty to do, plenty to see, plenty to talk about, and plenty to hear. And all of that's going to be coming your way in the next 2 hours. CliffCentral.com on Friday. What is today? Is the 5th.
Who cares?
So I was at a dinner last night, which is cool. I actually went out for dinner, which is a big deal. Oh no!
You ate with other people at the same time?
Yeah, there were 3 of us at dinner last night, and I just it was so good because the restaurant was actually quite full. There were lots of people. It was good. It felt good. It felt like, yay, this is what humans are meant to do with their time and their money. Socialize, be around each other. Great. So let's get out there and do that, all of us, in whatever way we can. If you can, of course, afford dinners, because, these days, we didn't drink anything, but I noticed that the price of things is probably going to have to go up. Imagine every time that the government puts up the prices, they have to reprint the menus, right?
Yeah, they do.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
I've done the digital marketing for restaurants before.
Yeah.
And you won't believe how many times that menu has to be reprinted.
Oh my God.
Slightest of change.
That's why some of them just do an A4 page. They just they take an A4 page like this. They're like, that's our menu. Sorry, we're not doing any fancy thing. Can you imagine if it was one of those ones that's engraved, and the very fancy restaurants sometimes have
leather bound.
Well, actually, the fanciest of restaurants do an A4 page just on a normal piece of paper. Because whatever ingredients are seasonal and in on that day, that goes.
And all the special.
The restaurants that I've been to recently in these crazy times are wanting me to scan a code as well, and then it pops up on my phone, and that's how I know what's what. So talk about pushing us into the future.
Gushoguti. It's the future.
We're going to. You're on mute, Gareth.
Stupid. They put the cutlery into a little bag. So your knife and fork or whatever else, it's in a little bag separately from everything else.
Just the thought that has to go into all of this.
I know. It's hectic. It's very different. All right. So what's happening, Leanne Mole? What have you got on your agenda this morning?
Very glad it's
that's
Friday.
A heavy sigh.
Yeah, it's been a busy week, which means a good thing.
Yes.
I was really touched by Karima Brown's death.
Yeah, it caught me sort of off guard yesterday. I didn't know because I wasn't watching the news. And actually, Sia and Rena told me. And I was like, what? Karima Brown? Because like a week or 2 ago, she was still doing her show.
Yeah, it just... it takes 1 or 2 of these incidents to make you realize how serious the issue is. So she was admitted to hospital last month
Yeah.
So I think it was a week or a couple of weeks that she was battling through this.
Right.
Um, I don't know why it affected me so much. And then, of course, being, pardon me if I'm wrong, a Muslim death, that
Hmm.
she had to be buried very soon. And that was
Yeah,
all broadcast
that's right.
last night. And you saw the coffin being lowered into the ground. Ugh,
Oh my
it's
goodness.
heavy, man.
It is heavy.
And the whole thing is, these people at this stage, whether or not they know what's going on, they are essentially alone. You don't, and it's so hard for the families. They can't be there. They can't hold her hand and whisper well wishes. Yeah, it's
Even
just,
I've got to say, just the fact that they put you in plastic, and it's not a proper burial the way that people might like it. It's this because you obviously you've got COVID, so they can't just bury you normally.
Yeah, man,
Yikes.
it was pretty
That's
tough.
this.
It is quite hard. Funny thing is that she and I never met. We despite working at the same place for the last couple of months, we've actually never met. I've never had a conversation with Karima, as far as I can recall. So it's even more weird because people are like, oh, but she's a colleague of yours. I'm like, yeah, but I've never
On
actually met
paper,
her.
yes.
No.
Yeah, that place
I
is a
mean,
hive of activity, and there's so many people coming in and coming out. And I think the only people that I really know there are the security guards. That's really
Yeah,
the
same,
common
exactly.
thread. Everyone else, it's like,
I'm sure you would have eventually have crossed paths, but it just didn't happen.
Well, she was one of the people I wanted to have on our show because I thought, she's got lots to say. She's got an interesting take on politics. We probably would have disagreed about almost everything, but it just again shows you, these things just, one day you're there, one day you're not. It's pretty freaky.
I was
Yeah.
watching all of the fanfare on TV, and I was we're such selfish human beings,
Explain.
what?
I was wondering what would be done in my case. So I don't think I'd make it to TV level, but I'm sure you guys would do like a little bit of a thing for me, right? Right?
Oh my gosh!
Sure
Why
we
are we
would.
why are we talking about
I mean,
this?
I would definitely throw you into the ground in a plastic bag. Yeah, I would do that. No,
Oh gosh.
I know what you mean. Like when these things happen, people do. They kind of just yeah.
I mean, like Gareth, can you imagine? Let's just be friends and be honest here.
Yes.
But if you had to die, like what level of fanfare would there be for you? And
Oh my gosh.
what would they put on TV? What have they got archived and ready to go? I mean, as a journalist at the SABC for many years, we had many death packages that we'd already compiled for people who were about to leave. And as you and I know, when Madiba died, we had go-to packages and bits to play. And do you know what's going to be played out? Can you imagine if you had
No, I don't know what they'd put out for me. It might not be stuff I like at all.
That's the thing.
I
mean, should we not send a little package tied up in ribbons saying, please play this?
No, this is how you should describe me. These are my life highlights. This is who you should call for comments. Is that what you want?
No. No. Actually, you know what? What other people have to say about you when you're not there anymore is none of your business.
In a bit of an egotistical way, to me it is. First point of call, let me just say, with both of you,
there's nothing you can do.
With both of you, first point of call is I'm calling my mother for a shipment of one of her big fascinators. Something with a bit of a veil, just over one eye. I'll jump onto the show at 6 a.m. and go, good morning. Then I'm off for the rest of the day.
Who was it that wore that funny outfit for a funeral recently?
It wasn't recently, but a long time ago. It was someone at one of the royal funerals, wasn't it?
No.
It was one
No,
of
are
the
you not talking about
Beatrice or
Lassizo, the
something.
YouTuber?
Yeah, that's who I'm talking about.
Oh,
Lassizo, who wore all white, and then it also had a cape that turned into a long. Yeah, I don't even know how to describe that, but it was dragging onto the ground, and he needed like someone just to hold on to that. So yes, that makes sense.
Well, Carl says he would write a poem for you, Leanne, and it would be called Leanne Mole in the Hole.
you see, that's the type of stuff I'm after. That's it right there.
Listen,
If it's something that makes you guys and everyone else laugh when I'm gone, then we're spot on.
yeah.
I think about it, and death is such an odd thing to discuss at any time, but it's also about celebrating the life more than the manner or the day that someone died. I'm going down to Durban in 2 weeks for a memorial of someone who was close to me, and the family, and they were letting us know they were umming and ahhing for so long around what they're going to do, because it was a COVID death as well. And they decided, actually, nope, screw it. We are going to his favorite pub where he hung out a lot of the time. They said, you can come in from this time to that time. We'll all be there. Come in and have a drink. And, that is a celebration. And I thought, actually, thank you. Because the last thing we all want right now is to go somewhere somber and have to really feel this heaviness that's happening right now. So celebrate the life, I think.
Yeah, I'm with you on that front. I like that. I want a big party, and I want people to think about the good times and get on with it. But this is very macabre for a Friday.
Yes.
I know it came up because of Karima Brown, and obviously, rest in peace, Karima. I didn't know you very well. I knew of you through the media, and no, this is it's just an awful thing to happen to anybody. And of course, this goes for everyone who's lost anyone during COVID, because we tend to talk a little bit about COVID on this show as if it's a thing that's happening. It's very theoretical. It's something that's just going on, and we all just need to get on with it. And that's unfortunately part of the way I deal with things, is to not get emotional about it. It's not going to change anytime soon. But I do have to stop myself occasionally and go, you know what? There are actually real world effects on people's lives and other people around them. And this is one of those occasions. So it's just a very stark reminder of what we're actually going through in this pandemic. It's not all, it's not all
gloom.
But it's also not just theory. It's not just, government regulations and lockdowns and getting back to level 1 and the bullshit masks we have to wear. And, this is where it actually matters in people's lives. So there's a lot going on. I don't know if you saw this on a completely different note, because I felt like we were getting a bit heavy there. There's this video going around of this woman who's trying to clip her pug's toenails. Now, dogs' nails grow, and then you have to cut them. And some of these dogs behave so badly. Like my mother's dog, who's now no longer with us, he just did not cooperate when you had to cut his nails. And the lengths we had to go to get this dog to behave. Someone had to hold him, someone else had to have the clippers, someone else had to give him some kind of snack to distract him. And then if you were lucky, you could get one toenail cut at a time. This video of the pug going around, and I'm only going to play the audio because you'll be able to, you just look it up and you can find it on YouTube.
Yay.
But this is hilarious. So it's this American woman, and this pug is so dramatic. See, if you were a dog, this would be you.
Yeah. I won't deny it.
As she brings the clippers near the dog, it starts screaming. The noise, I've never heard a dog make this noise before, but this pug is lying on its back, and she's like cuddling it, and she's trying to make it feel better, but this thing is so dramatic. So just listen to this.
It's okay. It's okay, pug. We have like 1.5 more to go. I know it's hard. Okay. Pug, you have to stop. It's okay. Pug. Pug. Chill.
He's like, no, I'm
Okay.
not doing it. And
Oh.
she eventually starts laughing because
That is so sad.
so much drama. Oh man. Anyway,
There was
sweet.
a video going around as well. I'm trying to remember what type of dog it was. I think it was also a terrier of some sort, like a staffy, I think. Who, as soon as you brought the clippers close to its toes,
yeah.
it would feign fainting. It would just kind of
Oh,
fall back
pretend-
and lie
Oh.
dramatically with its paw in the air.
So much drama. You see, these animals have as much character and personality as we do.
Love it.
absolutely.
We're not better than them. All those people who say, "Oh, animals are just animals. It's just savage beasts. What the hell do they know?" No, they have personalities just like us, and some of them are dramatic too.
Gosho Goti, I'm crying right now.
You would
No, it's so precious, I think, once you figure out the personality of your pet. We had one of our dogs growing up loved watching TV.
Yeah.
And we thought, like, what? I don't know what she sees or what she thinks is going on, but she knew exactly what is happening. She'd always sit right on the rug in front of the TV. She didn't even want to sit by the couches next to us. And she would be quiet for the longest amount of time. And she didn't care whether it was the news or some drama. I think like it was, I swear, as if she was so in tune. She knew different channels, she knew what was happening, and she would stare for the longest of time. I wonder what is going on in her head.
My cats actually let me know when it's time for their TV watching, and that's because I'll be watching something on my phone,
Yeah.
and I'll see they're sitting on my shoulder or whatever, and I'll see that they pick up what's on the screen, and then straight away I go to you just Google videos for cats to watch. And
Wait, there's specific videos for cats to watch?
Oh yeah. So there'll be little birds. It's usually a camera set up in a still position at a feeding site. There'll be little birds that come in and eat, and little squirrels. And as the birds fly off, the cats they zoom their heads over to the right of the screen, and then maybe go behind the phone to see where the bird is. But I've got one that I can have entertained for hours doing that.
What bizarre nonsense. But that is a thing. That is actually cute, though.
Well, here's an interesting story for you this morning. Something which we've spoken about once or twice, but apparently office buildings in Sandton are a big deal. So this story is about a week old, but it's novel in terms of what's happening there. If you want to see the extent to which the pandemic has disrupted commercial real estate, a quick drive around Sandton should do the trick. What was until recently South Africa's busiest and largest business hub has become unnervingly quiet. Clearly, the people and the cars forced out of Sandton when companies began working remotely in March last year have yet to return. In fact, the only thing that seems to have multiplied is the number of to let signs affixed to Sandton's myriad half-empty office buildings. And I noticed that when I drove through Sandton a little while ago. Actually, I mentioned C and I were at the Constitutional Court on Tuesday. And that's probably the first time I've driven into the CBD or Braamfontein, because it's not really the CBD, in a year, maybe even more. So it's interesting to see how many of those big, fancy, new, shiny office buildings that were, some of them only put up 5 years ago, are now struggling to find tenants. Yeah. I would not want to be in the commercial property business. And that story comes from, I think it's Business Day. Yeah, Business Day.
Yeah, it's so true. And these places were already battling before COVID. They were, I don't know if I think it's a developing country phenomenon where it's still worthwhile investing in property and
Yeah.
building new buildings. And that's the sort of drive we were on. And I mean, we've built brand new cities. I mean, if you think about in Pretoria and between Joburg and Pretoria, we've built cities. But with COVID, it's the
Bit of a
last thing
grinding halt.
we should have done. Yeah.
And I wonder what else we could do with these buildings, because if offices aren't going to return, and listen, I do think offices will come back. I don't think they'll come back in the way that they used to be there. I think they'll be much more contained. They'll be much smaller. They won't expect everyone to be in every day, so they could probably use a quarter of the space that they might have used before. You know, they'll have people on rotation. But I do think ultimately it's impossible for some people to work at home. If you have small kids, there's no way you can get the work done that you need to do. If those kids are around, I'm sorry, I feel for parents. It is impossible while your kids know you're in the house for them to leave you alone to do your work. And for many people, their houses are just not equipped to be places of work. And they're going to have to find another way. And maybe for some, it would be a relief to go back to the office and to resume that kind of life. Certainly traffic is back to normal in some ways. I know I've been stuck in 2 big traffic issues for in the last 2 weeks, one a week, where I felt, oh, well, we're so back to what it used to be pre-COVID.
You mean traffic issues?
Traffic issues, exactly.
It's a good point you mentioned. I was chatting to a relative of mine who works in HR for this large company, and they have 2 buildings. She says they're 13 floors each, and it's one of those setups that like 2 buildings and they're connected by like a skywalk or whatnot. But essentially 26 floors that they're dealing with. Now, a year since, random statistic, it's a year since South Africa confirmed its first COVID case now. And a year since, they're now undertaking surveys with the staff to say, how has your experience been of working at home? And some people are able to do it. Currently, she says probably like 4 people on her floor alone are needed to come in. Otherwise, like, the building is empty. But there are some people who live in informal settlements who say, yes, I may have the equipment to work from home, but my neighbors are fighting next door, their kids running around. I'm sitting in here, it gets too hot. It's not as if there's like a coffee shop around the corner for me to sit and work. So actually, the office environment worked for me. So it's having to manage all of that in one.
No, I think that's a big deal. But what do you do if you've got a huge, big office building and maybe you've got a quarter of the tenants that you did this time last year? Can you turn part of that building into residential apartments? Because we know that we have a housing problem in South Africa. Who would be able to do that, to convert an office building into apartments, for example? Because it's not always possible. You know, you've got plumbing and you've got all kinds of other issues that you have to comply with. And when you build a building specifically as an office, it's very different to the layout and the kinds of requirements that a building would have.
Well, now the whole thing is that even that is being affected right now, because if you think about it, the market for residents wanting to move into new places within the city was so that they could be closer to their place of work.
Yeah.
Now that's gone. So they're sitting at home 40 to 60 kilometers away from their workplace.
Sure.
Still able to carry out their duties. So does it even warrant residential market, you know?
Well, we can talk about all of those things just now, but we've got to get to the headlines, which are waiting for us. The first thing is from News 24. A hunt for crocodiles is on the go in the Western Cape as conservationists have joined a search party. This is not a good story if you don't like crocodiles. So Cape Nature have joined in the search party to recapture an unknown number of Nile crocodiles that escaped
unknown
number that escaped from a commercial breeding farm in the Winelands. To date, 27 crocodiles have been recaptured and returned to the facility. Searches for reptiles only occur in the evening, and farmers and police are part of these nocturnal efforts. Do not put me in the dark. In the dark where there are crocodiles. Yes.
Beluxem.
They've like, you would think maybe they're hunting for like 12 crocodiles, but already they've captured 27, and they know for sure how many are out there, but they don't want to scare us.
There might be 48 left. You don't know.
There could be 248 left.
Count me out of anywhere in low-lying, watery areas of the Western Cape for a long time. This is
Gareth, you don't like big crawling lizards.
No.
I hope they don't go and chomp the Love Island contestants, because they're in that part of the world. Imagine that as a...
Is Love Island in the Winelands?
They're somewhere on some farm, yeah.
I saw
that would be quite a plot twist.
A very funny clip of Coconut Kells, which we've got to play later, about her whole take on Love Island, which is hilarious. You know, and the
hold on, Love Island, and even the screenshot or the icon that they're using is an actual island in water. Are you telling me they're not near the beach?
I thought it was.
Leanne, where would they have gone?
I thought it was in Cape Town.
Oh, somewhere there. Nah, I don't know. All I know is it's on a farm.
Leanne,
they couldn't have gone to like Robben Island.
Count me out of Cape Town for a little while if there are crocodiles, even within the surrounding areas, because apparently they've set traps for these things. And what they do is they go out in the evenings and they capture them. They have to search for them in the dark. They've been trapping them in mostly rivers. It has proven to be the most successful method. We would put the cages in the water with the bait. Is the most viable option we have. So apparently they had been able to ascertain that crocodiles were not fully grown adults and therefore did not pose a risk to the public. They won't be
little babies.
Not babies, but slightly less fearsome than adults. They won't be able
and little babies also get hungry.
They're too small to breed.
No shame, man. They can't bite you.
Yeah. The river is very dense, makes it difficult to patrol. According to Cape Nature, an area of about 5 kilometers upstream from Robertson and 5 kilometers downstream towards Swellendam is the key area.
You remember I lived in McGregor for a year. Robertson was the next town. That's where I went to shop.
Crocodiles. Not great. That's very scary to me. EWN say that Mogoeng has ordered he's been ordered to retract and apologize for his Israel-Palestine conflict comments. Now, this is crazy. He is allowed to have personal opinions because everybody is allowed those personal opinions as guaranteed by the Constitution. But it seems that Mogoeng has been ordered by the Judicial Conduct Committee, whoever the hell they are, to retract and apologize for his comments about Israel and Palestine. He faced criticism after appearing to voice his full support for Israel during a webinar last June. He further said South Africa and Africans at large had not cut diplomatic ties with colonizers, and yet they criticized Israel. A lot of the things he said are things, frankly, that I agree with. And I don't see why our Chief Justice shouldn't have opinions. Prompted organizations such as Africa for Palestine, the South African BDSM. I'm sorry, I always say BDSM. I imagine like a whole lot of people in
clever
in those head schools like old Yasser Arafat used to wear, and they all like slapping each other with the leathers. I'm sorry, I can't take you.
I thought, my, they are really extending themselves here. Getting involved.
Yeah, it's the boycott and divestment movement or whatever, but I always call them the BDSM movement.
But if it were the BDSM people, they'd send quite a strong message. They'd have whips
Listen.
and chains, and they'd tie you up until you believe in them. So
Right.
Listen, if the BDSM were on the protest march, I'd steer clear.
So those are the people who complain. Wah. All I want to say is, because we haven't used this a long time in the show, wah. We know what Judge Mogoeng really thinks, and you can't, even by shutting him up, stop him from thinking that. So good luck, BDSM. 3 powerful earthquakes have struck off the coast of New Zealand on Friday, triggering tsunami warnings that were later stood down. Evacuation orders were issued for residents living in coastal areas of the North Island after the 3rd and strongest earthquake hit. So apparently the National Emergency Agency warned of a tsunami. There were reports of chaos in some places, but by Friday afternoon, everybody calmed down, and New Zealand went back to being the calmest place on Earth very, very quickly.
Sure. Hectic.
Apparently, New Caledonia and Vanuatu, which are 2 archipelagos in the South Pacific, were also warned to prepare for dangerous waves. Their coasts could see wave surges as high as 3 meters, while parts of South America could see 1 meter wave. Ooh, a whole 1 meter wave reaching its coast. This is not a news story. I'm terribly sorry, New Zealand. I know that you're trying to muscle in on a world where, we've got coronavirus and danger and BDSM movements and God knows. But
and you're in the archipelagos.
I'm sorry, New Zealand. There's just you are not a real country with real news. So we're just going to pretend that story didn't even happen this morning. Okay? Everybody agree?
Right. Yep.
Okay.
And then Sia is watching this much more closely than everyone else, but apparently Prince Philip had a successful heart procedure, and that was the reason he was in hospital for 2 weeks. They've operated on him, and he is alive, 99 years old. Prince Philip.
I don't know so much about old people, but I know about old animals, and you can't put them under anesthetic at that age.
No.
I mean, that in itself is a death sentence. So the fact that they went in must have meant that they had real hope that if they fixed this, he'd be okay.
Well, listen, the guy's obviously he's got some serious energy. I mean, he only stopped doing all of his public appearances and his public duties, about 3 years ago?
There's a part of me that doesn't believe it. Like, they would have, or they could have admitted it right off the bat to say there's something wrong with his heart, he's going in for a routine procedure, nothing to worry about. But 2 weeks later, they're only telling us this. I will not be surprised if right when that Harry and Meghan interview is about to premiere, they go, breaking news.
Oh, Sia, you think they're keeping him on ice? No, I
Prince
think
Philip unfortunately has that. Oh, this is the world we're living in.
He'll be all right. This is a strong guy. He's made of strong stuff.
Huh?
Anyway,
titanium.
Here's what they tell us. If you don't believe Sia's conspiracy theories, he went through a successful procedure for a pre-existing heart condition at St. Bartholomew's Hospital in central London. He will remain in hospital for treatment, rest, and recuperation for a number of days. So there's the news, and it's good. So let's see what happens. And then finally, the U.S. Congress is under tight security after there's a new extremist threat. Remember, they still haven't opened up the area around the Capitol. It's like a military base at the moment. Very, very upsetting because of what happened on January the 6th, obviously. The grounds of the U.S. Capitol were ringed with boosted security on Thursday after officials were warned of an attack by QAnon conspiracists 2 months after backers of ex-President Donald Trump stormed the Capitol building. Now, this QAnon stuff is going to continue to be a boogeyman, and it's going to continue to frighten people, particularly Democrats in the U.S. Capitol, for a long, long time. And it's going to be used as an excuse for people to put up extra security. I don't know why, for example, we need extra security for the Congress people, the senators and representatives in America's Congress, and ordinary people in America don't have this kind of security when there's a threat to them. It irritates me when politicians get preferential treatment, whether they're Republicans or Democrats. And, they think that they're the only people who've ever a danger in their lives. Meanwhile, they have a private security force that looks after them. Many of them have private security details, which the public pay for. You know, if you live in a town where there are activities by any terrorist organization, or there's a threat, or nobody rushes to put barriers and barricades around your private business or around the county courthouse. But because it's Congress, I suppose we have to put extra measures in place for these already very, very well catered to security needs of these politicians. I hate politicians. And this is just proof again that they deserve less public security or private security, not more. You know, if there's ever a reason for them to spend money, they'll find that reason. Anyway, nothing happened. So it was all big false alarm. But they've got these fortified high fences that are topped by razor wire. The Senate remained in session. Many people were at work. But House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said it made sense to reduce activities after the warnings.
I just hate that that whole thing, the whole act of putting up high security fences and extra security makes those people who did breach security on that day drive past and think, yeah, I really made an impact. You know, they're scared
Well, that's
of me.
the problem. Exactly, is those people are emboldened. They start to think, wow, you know, we really achieved something. And so it has the opposite effect of what they think it has in some situations. Anyway, not ideal. That's all I can say about that. Not ideal. So Carl says even a small crocodile, back to our first story in the headlines this morning, even a small crocodile will fuck you up. Really?
Leanne, you go ahead and you play with the jaws of a small croc, since you think they're so innocent.
Thank God I've never encountered even a small crocodile.
So where I go every year, one of my that sounded so like I'm a rich person, but it's really not. But one of my timeshares is in Hazyview. And
it's not when you check yourself into a facility once a year for your mental health.
No, it's not for rehab or anything like that. But there are these little, it's on a golf course in the Sabi area, and there are these little ponds, and often there'll be baby crocodiles in there. And you can pull them out by their tails and they don't do anything.
Oh, hell, girl.
And then what, mommy comes along? No.
Bum, bum, bum.
No. So I've only had 2 experiences with crocodiles. The first was on a school trip. It was a day thing. We went to this crocodile park, and you know, it was exciting. We got the whole tour, and the second time was such a somber day for our family, because we realized how cheap my dad is. So this is when he was working about an hour and a half outside of Durban. So he and my mother had a home there. Sometimes we'd go and visit them on holidays or weekends, and they'd drive us back to where we lived in Durban. And we were leaving that house, and he says, the kids are in the backseat. We're so young and impressionable and excited. He says, do you guys want to see crocodiles? And we're like, yeah. He goes, we'll go to the crocodile park. We're going, this is incredible. And we get into the car, and we're on the highway, and we drive for quite a long time. And then he stops on the side of the highway, which is a little elevated on a hill. And then he goes, everyone get outside. There we go. There they are, right there. Can you see that?
I almost thought that you were going to, because it's in KZN, and it's on the south coast. So south of Durban, there's a place called Croc World, right? Do you know it?
Yes.
Yeah. So I used to go there often in my youth. So I thought you were going to describe that.
No, but that cheap man didn't want to pay for entrance, and he had calculated that if you stand on the highway, you can see down into the whole situation.
So it was Croc World, but just
outside. but then we just had to stand there. We're like, after a few minutes, you can't pet these things; they're too far away. We had to squint to really see what is happening.
No, your dad would have to pay for all of you, and you're not a small family. So,
Yeah,
Well, why
exactly.
even put that up? Rather than just give us some bubble wrap and we'll sit in the lounge and amuse ourselves.
Well, I'll tell
He
you
made us
that
stand on the side of the highway to go.
I'll tell you
Oh,
that
this is great.
going to Crockworld, which I did, I don't know if I would relive the experience, just to assure you. That you'd start off in the small pits where there were these smaller crocodiles, and you'd end up at this enormous pit, probably half the size of a rugby field, that was paved with a bit of water in it. And shame, these crocodiles were overpopulated, as is the situation when you go to a lot of zoos, etc. But these trucks would come out with these trailers of dead chickens, feathers and all. And the smell was just atrocious. It was like, it smelled like acid. And they would fling these dead chickens into the air, and the crocodiles would all open their mouths. And as they do, they make a suction noise. So you'd hear as they were opening their mouths and swallowing them whole.
So that's the last thing you'd hear before you die.
I do not like this conversation. This does not make me happy. I don't like this at all. Can we move on? I really don't. I don't like these lizards and things. You know me. God, how awful. No, thank you very much. Nasty just begins to describe it. All right, so apparently we are getting closer to being able to build plastic roads. Finally, we can find a place to put all that plastic.
It's so exciting. They actually started experimenting in early 2000s with taking plastic and using it to develop roads. And it's becoming more and more prominent, and in places that you might not expect, like Ghana and India, where they're using these experiments and they're successful. So at the moment, it might only be a portion of a road. But the process that they go through is incredible. The thing that's most exciting is that they take, I don't know, we've all become a little bit more conscious when it comes to recycling things. And I'm sure that you are now in the habit of reading the back of the label of a product and seeing whether it is recyclable or not, right? Please?
Yeah,
yes.
They're making bags out of billboards and things like that already, but this roads thing is quite new to me. I didn't know about this.
So a lot of the stuff that you can't recycle, surprisingly, because you look at it and you're like, but this is plastic. And then it'll say currently not recycled in this country. So it takes all of those bits, the nasty bits that we really can't do anything about, compresses them. They actually use like a shredder and break down the plastic completely, and they combine it with certain elements, including bitumen, which if you have parquet flooring, perhaps you're in an old home in Johannesburg and you'll know about that, is a stinky tar type of system. What's it? Substance. Things happen.
What is that system?
I know. She just forgot the word. I know what happened.
Wait until you're 40. It happens.
It's just very foggy in there.
So it takes all of that, compresses it, and the best thing is that, and we as South Africans with our potholes will appreciate this, is that they don't degrade.
That's great.
So you don't get these potholes occurring. So I'm really excited about this, I must admit.
I think it's terrific also because if we could take all the rubbish that's on the side of so many roads in South Africa and turn it into the road itself, I think that's terrific. That's a great move. And, again, we have these people who are collecting rubbish in South Africa, and then they push that rubbish along on those trolleys. And sometimes they ride on the trolleys too at fantastic speeds.
Yes.
Those guys could probably sell that plastic, and if it could be turned into roads, I'm all for it. Yeah. I mean, that's like if government said to me, pay an extra R5 a month in tax, just so we can sort out the plastic pollution problem and clean up the country a little bit, I would say, absolutely, I'll pay double. I'll do double whatever the tax is for the month, just so we can clean this place up a bit. I was driving on the road on Monday, as I do when we record the TV show, and I just looked to the sides of the road I was on, and I was like, my God, there's just rubbish everywhere.
Yeah.
And if we could turn that into something useful, like a road,
Yeah.
hell yes, absolutely.
And apparently, I mean, if you travel long distances, you'll be quite aware and sensitive to the different textures of tar. Sometimes it can be quite loud driving over certain pieces of tar. And other parts are quiet.
You have to turn up or down the call that you're on or the music that you're listening to as you go
wireless.
across the
wireless.
But apparently on plastic, it's smooth as silk.
No,
but not
great.
smooth enough for you to careen and have an accident on. It just doesn't make a noise.
But then I have to be realistic as well and point the finger back on a lot of us. I don't know if you guys will admit this or if you do this, but I don't think as society we've learned or changed our actions enough to be more responsible with our usage and recycling, or even just making wiser or more responsible choices. For example, how many of us actually still carry a bag when we go shopping so that we don't reuse plastic? I know it's the right thing to do to carry your own bags. I'll admit I'm not there yet. And I know that's part of the problem. There are some places now who charge you for a bag. They'll say it's a 10 Rand bag. And I now have like 5 of those bags, 10 Rand a pop, sitting here at home. But it's still it still slips my mind whenever I go shopping. So even things like that, I'll say, are irresponsible. And most of us are still making these, we're just a tiny step away from a different society, and it is those tiny things that'll make a big difference.
So the shopping center that's my local, the whole center has banned plastic bags. So for me, it's like putting on a mask. I know now I need to go in with a bag.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not perfect, and
it's a sign of our development as a species that we're able to take things that we would normally throw away and turn them into things that are useful. I'm just loving this. This is talk about sustainability and conservation and environmentalism, all of that stuff. If you worry about climate change, this story should make you much happier than a wind turbine in Port Elizabeth, to be perfectly frank. So let's get our priorities
not
right.
Port Elizabeth, hey?
Sorry, what's it called?
Go ahead, Leanne.
I'm confused over the H part. How do you just tell me the H part?
Oh, geez.
HA is cha.
So it's Quebeca.
Quebeca.
There's an audio clip going around with a guy who goes, "Hi, Kulula. I'd like to book a flight to Kuku. Oh, fuck it, I'll fly to George."
Yeah. Woody has brought us back to earth with a comment this morning about this whole plastic roads thing. He says, these plastic roads just sound like a good idea for a tender opportunity.
Yeah, our government might stuff that one up.
Indeed. All right, well, we will be back in just a couple of minutes. We've got to separate the podcast into 2 pieces, as you have become accustomed to. And when we get back, we've got lots of other stuff to do. This is a Friday morning on cliffcentral.com. Leanne Mull, Sia Sangweni, Gareth Cliff. That's also, most importantly, you as a part of it this morning. So let us know what's on your mind. And we'll chat to you. You can get hold of us on 079-748-2090 or on Webinar Jam or on YouTube. There are a couple of comments piling up there as well. If you haven't subscribed on YouTube, do it today.
Enjoy a great economic quarter with Nando's. Reduce wasteful spending by ordering a meal that's too good to waste. Get the quarter chicken with any single side for only 49 Rand. Nando's. Fire it up.
world's apex predators have fearsome reputations, so it's hard to believe that some of them are facing a fight for survival.
In Gansbaai and Valsbaai, white sharks are almost completely disappeared.
Blind Conservation is the story of these endangered predators. In our first episodes, we speak to global experts about the alarming plight of the great white shark.
Each shark that lives out there, one day out of 4 days, it can be killed.
And what you can do to help one of nature's most magnificent creatures survive for future generations. Join me, Spike Ballantyne, and my co-host, Anthony Mederer, for Blind Conservation, available on cliffcentral.com, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Sorry, it is a Friday morning, cliffcentral.com. I'm Gareth. Cliff, how you doing? A bit of housekeeping, just to start the this hour of the show. We had our Facebook hacked again yesterday. So apparently, I explained what happened last time. We don't know how they actually hacked it this time, but there's this company. I think they company. This is a bunch of crooks. I think they're in India somewhere, although I can't be sure. And they've actually taken over our Facebook page. None of us can get in. That's the Cliff Central Facebook page. And yesterday they were actually trying to scam people out of money. So please, if you're on our Facebook page, just pay no attention until we've figured out the issues around that. And for God's sake, don't, this goes without saying, but if we were doing an event or we were doing some kind of, thing that we expect you to pay for, which we haven't ever done, you'd hear it from me first, and you'd hear it on the show first. So please don't fall for any of that crap. I would hate you to lose money through some scam because Facebook has been hacked, and we are going to try and sort that out. So hopefully it'll all be back in action this weekend. And in the meantime, just ignore anything that you see from the cliffcentral.com Facebook page. Got to warn you.
It used to be almost impossible to contact Facebook and say to them, we've been hacked. Can you help us? And it could take weeks to months to resolve. But I've noticed that Facebook are quite on the ball with this right now.
Yeah, they really are. And last time this happened, which was all of 2 weeks ago, it was really quick. And I got to thank the team at Facebook in South Africa for doing that for us as quickly as they did, because I'm sure that they have to put out these fires every single day. Just as many as there are good people online trying to do normal and good things, there are some really nefarious characters who are, trying to use audiences that they don't grow, that they're not connected to, the communities that they don't belong to scam these people out of money. So just don't fall for it. There isn't a day that goes by that I don't get a message on Instagram from someone saying, "Hi, could we advertise on your Instagram or whatever?" And all of them are bullshit. All of them. I just delete them all. If you have real business with me, then email me, Gareth at cliffcentral.com, and we'll talk about it. But please do not, because these things are so annoying. Do not fall for it. But as tempting as it may sound some of the time, oh no, we want to give you money so that we can advertise on your social media. Don't fall for it. And trust me, unless your following is into the millions, it's probably bullshit. Even if your following is in the
frustrating.
Yeah, so we will try to get that up and running again. But I thought it was necessary to just mention it on the show, because there's nothing more annoying than someone who's removed control of something that is yours, is then posing as you, and might try to scam people out of money. And
what's further annoying for me is to have to change passwords and then have to remember a new password. I don't know any of these passwords.
So I found a really good tool for that. It's called LastPass, one word, and it stores all of your passwords for you. And you obviously
I'm too paranoid for that.
No, you know what? The organization that I work for now, which is a multinational organization, uses it, and hence I trust it. Within our organization, there are a lot of people who know about hacking and, weird online scams. And so that gives me the confidence to use it. So, yeah.
I
there's
don't.
that.
Yeah, I did. I used one of those for a while. It was called Dashlane. It's a similar kind of
Yes.
thing. Dashlane and LastPass are probably the two most well-known ones. But eventually, you have to renew it, and it's a subscription thing, and it just became like an admin thing. Maybe they've perfected and improved the service, but I did not enjoy the process of being with them. It became as complicated as remembering 20 different passwords. All I do is I set a reminder every 6 months or whatever to change my passwords.
Does anyone else go into sheer panic when you've forgotten your password? The other day, I got locked out of my banking app on my phone because it couldn't scan my face anymore. So I'm like, it is me. Wait a minute. And then it asks you something that you said when you were just delightful months ago. Like, what is the name of your first pet? And I'm like, wait, did I put down, or did I put down that? I'm like...
Sia, do you think it's because of those new wrinkles on your forehead that it didn't pick
Leanne,
up your face ID?
Leanne, Jalissa, Shemaine Moore. We are not going to go down that road. Okay.
So I'm excited about something this morning. Leanne and Sia have been big fans of The Bachelor and The Bachelorette. And this morning we're going to speak to Qiniso Van Damme, who is the Bachelorette in South Africa. And I've got to tell you, I saw her. I mentioned I watched an episode the other day. It was on a Saturday, and they were playing a repeat or whatever. And first of all, she's a very good Bachelorette. Like, she's got, the personality to pull this off.
Yeah.
And she seems to me to be doing a very good job. I don't know what kind of quality and caliber the guys are. We'll find out from her because I didn't watch enough to see that. But it'll be nice to catch up with her, and she'll be with us at 7:30 this morning.
And then just a behind the scenes question ahead of that. Where are they with filming? Are they done? And is she possibly with her man already?
Ooh, we'll have to ask her. Yeah. She can always say, I'm not allowed to talk about that.
Yes,
because
there'll be a lot of that.
Yeah, very exciting. So we'll speak to Qiniso a little bit later on and find out what it's like being the first Bachelorette in South Africa. Of course, she was one of the girls who was on The Bachelor. So that's where she came from. Anyway, I was talking last night because the dinner I had was with someone in television who we worked with on Idols, and she's a producer, very, very capable and competent and efficient and brilliant producer. And she was telling me about some of the things that happened on Love Island and kind of how that looks. And I mean, she was quite complimentary about the way that it's been handled, but a lot of people are saying terrible things about this Love Island. And I don't know how many new developments there are, but I haven't watched yet. And I feel like I even made a note to say to myself, I'm going to have to watch this show. And then I haven't watched a single episode yet. So I've got to get into that too this weekend. Maybe I'll find a time. Who knows?
Yeah, shame, but also, even though you're the type of person who needs to be on top of popular culture, if you have to force yourself to do it, I don't know.
I don't feel like it's it's the end of my life that I haven't been able to watch an episode yet. I'll catch up when I do, and if I do, and we'll see how interesting it is. What the whole thing there is that you want people to hook up? Is that what it is?
Yeah. And it's kind of weird because there's a certain amount of guys and a certain amount of girls. And somehow you need to find your partner through all of the noise.
It's like musical chairs.
Yeah.
And then they take away one of the chairs or they add another chair in, and who knows?
Which they do.
The funny thing about it is, like, I was telling you about this clip of Coconut Kells, who's hilarious. She's just so bloody funny. And she says, guys, I don't understand this racist thing with, Ireland. She goes, what's wrong with you people, speaking to the blacks now, obviously, that you've got Mzansi Magic and you've got all of your shows and there are no whites. She goes, there are no whites there, so why does it bother you so much that there are no blacks on Love Island?
Are there no blacks on Love Island?
No, there are blacks.
Well, I
but
mean,
not enough blacks. everything these days has to be the quota system. You know, we're all one day the woke people are going to go into your dating history and they're going to, oh, you didn't date enough black people or enough trans people. And you'd be like, well, sorry, I'm cancelled then. But it is an interesting point. Like there are shows all over television where I've watched them. Like I told you how stupid I found that Desperate Housewives, not Desperate Housewives, Housewives of
Real
Johannesburg.
Housewives.
Yeah.
Whatever it's called. And there's only the one white woman in there, and you know we've had her on the show, Crystal. She's very bizarre. She's very bizarre. I still don't know if she's for real or not. And then they've got, I think it's 5 other ladies who are on the show, and they're all black. But when I watch the show, the last thing I'm interested in is what the breakdown of racial demographics is. I still watched it. I only watched 1 episode, and it's not because of the racial makeup of the show that I'll stop watching it. But it's just amazing. Like people project their own shit into a television show.
Yeah.
Maybe Mnet are trying to get the white people back onto Mnet. You ever thought about that? Maybe
But where were they then?
Maybe they just don't have any, because maybe they've got YouTubes. Yeah, maybe they're not interested in watching television anymore because they don't see themselves in it, just the way that black people didn't used to see themselves in a TV show, and so they'd stop watching.
Let's Google, where did all the white people
Yes.
go?
Exactly. Let me play you this clip because it's hilarious. I can't do it as well as she does. Here's Coconut Kells. This is her talking about Love Island. This is funnier than anything Love Island themselves could
Guys,
do. Listen.
I can't believe I have to address this after only 2 episodes, but here we go. I just want to address the racism accusations. First of all, you guys are saying that the country is 80% black, so why isn't the show? But if you look carefully, the show is shot in Stellenbosch, and that is 80% white. So, and maybe black people didn't even apply. I mean, it's called Love Island, not Love Robin Island. So they can't swim. So they don't want to be stuck on an island. Do you know what I mean? Even though the island is now the Winelands. But still, I know all the people behind the scenes because I'm an intern there. And they chose the best people for the show. Do you know what I mean? This is not like ESCOM or SA. There's no BEE here. It's just like, who's the best candidate? Mnet is an English channel for English speakers. So, and also, it's not like we complain about Date My Family or Uya Jula Ranan. So, you have your shows, let us have ours. You people have SABC, ETV, Moja Love, Zansi Magic, the one with the Nollywood films. All we're asking for is Mnet, guys. I don't think that's asking for too much. Can we just have 1 channel out of 500? And actually, Mnet does have diversity. I mean, look at the Bachelorette. Her name is Gobeja. And the other diverse shows are...
She's busy going.
My word. Too
Yeah.
funny. Gosh.
That's great.
Claire Mawisa's on carte blanche.
She's so good. One awesome. That woman is hilarious. So there we go.
How do you spell so according to Coconut Kells? So. There's an R there, an OU somewhere there as well.
It's a W for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, SOW. Like, what is that? A small chicken? What's a sow again? A small duck.
Sow is a female pig. But you also
it's a boar and a sow.
But you also sow seeds. So
yes,
it's reap what you sow.
So
hey, you know what? I'll actually make an effort. I'll watch it this weekend for research purposes.
Tanya says she tried to watch Love Island and catch up yesterday after listening to Wednesday's show, but I couldn't find any episodes. There's only the important notice from Mnet. Very important.
I heard they did take it off the first episode. I didn't know that they continued taking off the rest of it.
I watched DSTV on my phone, so I'll just I'll look it up. But I've got a bit of connection difficulty, you know.
There it is. Come back.
Oh, I'm watching this great show.
What is it called?
Love Fraud, and it's all
Love
about
Fraud.
this. Yeah.
What is it about?
all about this. It's a series on this one guy.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be like an online dating thing about all these fraudulent people, but they've made a whole series on this one guy in America who has lived multiple lives in the last 2 decades. He's married to about 40 people. No one knows.
This is real. It isn't fiction.
Yeah, no, it's real. It's a documentary.
So he's a con man, right?
His name's Richard Scott Smith. Well, one of his names is Richard Scott Smith.
Wait a minute.
What?
He was in my DMs.
No.
No. Wouldn't it be delightful to say, that's my ex?
No. So he goes after women my age and above. And he picks them up on apps or at karaoke bars. And then a lot of them are like maybe 20 years older than me, and they've got all of their life savings in order.
Oh man.
And he cons them into doing stuff like buying condos and jet skis and boats. And they end up spending all their money. And I mean, we all watch these shows and go, how stupid is the woman? But this guy is like really, really good. Anyway, so there's a bounty hunter, a female bounty hunter who's after his ass. And that's where I am at the moment.
Well, that's hilarious.
Wow.
See, I like when they catch these guys, but it infuriates me to hear the stories of how these people have fallen for him. Because obviously part of the reason that these people are so successful is because they manage to make these very lonely women or men, whoever they're targeting, feel good. And these very lonely people will do anything to feel like there's a connection. They'll pay for a plane ticket that the guy never arrives on. They'll send money through, transfers on the internet. They'll buy them. They'll actually send them cash in the mail. Sometimes I've heard these stories, and these people are so good. These con artists are so good at this stuff. I've just got such a. It puts a lump in my throat because I think of how sad it is for these poor lonely ladies in this case, who will do anything just to feel a bit of love. Just to have someone somewhere, even if they're just pretend they love them. They'll give them their life savings just to feel that little bit of care and attention.
They just want to feel real love.
Yeah, that's right.
It's also a good thing to watch Dr. Phil on this issue because he does take on a lot of women who are like 60 or even older who've fallen for these guys online. And it's usually someone in Nigeria. And how these scam artists have become so good. Like if you ask them to send you a personal note in a picture, they Photoshop these images so that they'll be holding a piece of paper but then when you back search the images, you'll see it's him holding a menu and they've just Photoshopped a piece of paper over it. Wow. But I still feel like they're stupid. I'm sorry. Maybe it's because I'm too suspicious.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying.
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
Don't
be suspicious. Suspicious.
I'm going to let you guys have this time. Go on. As you
Don't be suspicious. 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 Yeah, don't be suspicious.
I got an email that I read up, I think it was yesterday with Pumi, about how people's favorite impersonations that you do are the ones where you do like a very butch male voice. People like that the most.
Really?
Yeah, where you put on a real male voice.
Oh, like when I sing, "Someday my prince will come."
That's it. That's it.
Oh, my parents are so proud of me.
Yes, and yes, they should be. Damn it. It's a little sad. Think about the admin that we sometimes.
Let's be stupid. It's Friday morning. Here's your song, Leanne. You ready?
Oh.
Okay.
Here it is.
Someday my prince will come. Someday
I don't know what she says there.
Oh, she's got such a tiny, high little voice.
Forever, I know.
Someday when spring is here, we'll find our love.
Now give us your version.
Someday my prince will come. Someday he will, guys. Someday he will.
He shall. He shall.
I spend at least 2 hours a day sitting on my bed watching the horizon.
Yeah, sure.
To look out for the silhouette of my prince. Yeah.
Beautiful. Good for you.
The best part of that story is when you went at the end.
Yeah.
Lee says there was a story in the UK about a woman who was catfished that way and found the actual guy whose photos were being used and ended up marrying him.
Oh, my word.
Oh.
Oh, God, I've just got a flashback. Oh, no.
Oh, I feel a Leanne story coming up.
Oh. What happened?
So before catfishing and the phrase was even coined.
Yeah.
What was it? Jeez, it was like before Tinder, before all of those, some kind of chat room. Might have been Mixit.
Yeah.
There was a guy who I made contact with, and he sent me his photo, and he was this blonde Cape Townian guy.
Oh.
But lived in Joburg. And I started first with him on the phone. We had a couple of phone conversations. And then we met, and I was like, okay. So firstly, you're not a blonde guy. He was a colored guy. And secondly, you are not what you say. And thirdly, you're wearing a wedding ring. And he was actually married.
Oh wow! So he was bullshitting you before.
He was the one that my mom, because we actually got to the point where we were dating properly. And when we went on a weekend away together, he came in to meet my parents. And he was the one who my mom called Shiraz, even though his name was Siraj.
Oh my God. So you actually went on a date with this dude, despite the fact that he wasn't who he said he was. Original.
When I found out who he was, and I actually liked him for who he was.
But you didn't feel like you were deceived?
Oh, completely. But I didn't care at that point.
And he had a wedding ring on, so he was obviously cheating on a wife.
Yeah, but that's not my problem. So.
Okay. Yes, Shiraz.
Shiraz. But yeah, we had a long time affair.
Look at you with your saucy background.
Feel awkward now. Change the subject.
How long did it last? Just last question.
No, there were a couple of months, like maybe 3 months.
Guys, my camera's gone off again. Remember this happened on Wednesday?
You're frozen in a delightful way, though.
Yeah, the good news is you're frozen in a nice, smiley way.
Yes.
Not with one eye open, looking like
we can actually take a screenshot now. It's a little swan.
Yeah.
That's good. So Leanne is probably not the only one who's had the word catfish is what we're talking about, right? And when you spoke about that show you've been watching, that's catfishing effectively. Yeah. Well, if you want to know why my face hasn't moved, it's not because I've been for plastic surgery. It's because the screen is frozen and my camera, I just noticed now that the little green light has gone off. So I don't know what's happening, but this is the second time.
But talking about plastic surgery, if you want to find out about that, listen to this week's episode of the T Health Show.
Oh.
Fascinating stuff.
See, you want to do lots of plastic surgery, don't you?
Oh, yeah. They talk about pulling things and flipping things and sucking things. And yeah. It's available. The podcast is available now on cliffcentral.com.
Oh, man.
Have you not become overly conscious of how you look? I think we touched on it briefly when Rich Mulholland was on, but I have picked up certain mannerisms about myself that I wasn't aware of. For example, I didn't know I touch my nose so much. Up until now, you have to stare at yourself for meetings and at least a minimum of 2 hours a day here. But I really
some body language people will tell you if you touch your nose a lot and in a certain way, it's actually an indicator that you're lying. So now we're going to watch you very carefully, C.S. Angweni.
That or you've got a coke issue.
Oh, jeez.
Yes,
both great, beautiful, shining examples. Okay. I'll just sit on my hands from now. Jeez.
Well, Sergio says, hey guys, this also ties back to your discussion around being scammed online via Facebook hackers or whatever else it is. It's the same thing in terms of the measures you need to take. It's all about awareness. Maybe there's an opportunity to start a show around security awareness. It's a good idea.
Ooh, yeah,
I mean, it's the second
subject.
time. It's the second time in 2 weeks that our Facebook's been hacked, and it all came from an Instagram message that these hackers sent me, which I forwarded to Greg because he knows these things, and also I don't respond to anything even vaguely suspicious, which is probably the best way to be. You don't. And then I forwarded it to him, and he actually arranged a meeting with these people, thinking that they were legitimate. And Greg is no fool. I mean, one of the reasons I'm pleased it happened to him, even though he's not very pleased, he feels very responsible for the whole thing, is that Greg knows his stuff. He can spot stupidity and outrageously dumb hacking stuff from a mile away. But even he can't figure out exactly how they managed to get in. So it could happen to you, and just please be very careful. Don't take any unsolicited communications seriously. If you don't know the people who are sending you this, do not respond. Delete, block, get them the hell out.
Unless you're lonely,
No, especially if you're lonely, don't. That's when they will siphon out all your funds. Your pension will be dried up. So don't do it. But thank you, Sergio. You're right. That would make for an interesting show.
It is quite a skill, though, to con people successfully.
Yeah.
I slightly marvel at it.
It's not a nice skill, but it's an incredible. It shows you how, first of all, how very gullible people are. But also, if a guy like that guy that Leanne was telling us about in that show that she's been watching can get away with 400 different relationships that he pulled this bullshit on.
Was it 400 or 40?
I don't know where Gareth got that number.
Sorry, 40.
40.
I added a 0 because I'm like Jacob.
You're so
Zimmerman.
extra.
No. Yeah, I'm so extra. But what, 40 different relationships, you said?
Jeez.
Even more. I'm sure they're going to tell me in the next few episodes, because at the moment they're showing you bit by bit the people. So we'll see.
Yeah, look, it's depressing in some ways to think that people are so desperate that they would fall for this stuff. But at the same time, that's how humans are, and they have been throughout history. Some people have sat pining for somebody for 20 years, and that person never comes back. And you even hear it with like couples that have broken up, and the one partner just can't accept it, and they just sit there and wait for the other one to return, and they never do. It's very sad. Anyway, we are going to talk about something much less sad, because here's a woman who has her choice of what? How many guys are there? 20, 25? I can't even remember. 25 men that Qiniso Van Damme can choose from. That's not bad. So, I mean, she's in the some women are envious of this. Some women don't want that responsibility, but it's the most bizarre thing in the world. Like these shows that we've got where we are able to put 25 men into a pit and make them fight essentially for the affections of one woman. And that one woman is South Africa's first bachelorette. Her name is Qiniso Van Damme, and she is our guest this morning. Hey, Qiniso, how are you?
Hi, Gareth. I'm good. How are you?
Why are you not turning your camera on? Mine is frozen. But no excuse for you. I've seen you on the show. You're looking fantastic. You should be showing off everything.
I mean, okay.
Put on the camera. Yeah, I've been watching you on TV. Oh, I think you're sharing your screen rather than putting on your camera. So
no.
There we go.
Other button on the other side. There we go.
There you are.
Hi, guys. I'm in my pajamas.
No, welcome to the club.
Yeah, sorry, my camera isn't on. It just went on the blink like literally 5 minutes before we crossed to you. How are you doing?
I'm sure your camera's not working. Sure.
I promise. I tried to reset it just now. I'm not on the toilet, I swear. So how are you doing and how's the show going?
Wow, the show is one of the strangest and greatest things I've experienced in my life. What on earth?
Are you enjoying it or is it pressure?
I'm definitely enjoying it, and there's definitely pressure. I mean, this is not an everyday situation. It's like Survivor, but not actually, because there's no tribal council. It's just me making decisions, and
you are tribal council.
So where are you in the filming? Like, has it finished already?
We've done a lot of the filming, but it's not done yet.
Okay, so you aren't yet with the man.
Hey, we're gonna have to tune in 7:30 on Mnet Channel 101 to know the thing.
Yeah. All right.
So you're still in the dating process?
Sure.
I was just trying to be very vague. Okay.
Yeah. They probably recorded this back in 2016.
They probably have moved into a 3-bedroom with 2 kids and a dog by now.
Divorced twice, and now she's bitter and resentful.
Oh my gosh.
So hang on. I mean, so when you do this show, it's got to be weird. I mean, I remember I spoke to the Bachelor, the first South African Bachelor, and I said to him, it's got to be bizarre. It's a strange situation. You've got all these guys, seemingly from the little bit I've watched. Now, I watched one episode a week ago or whatever, and it's not your fault. I think the show's great, but I just don't watch a lot of TV. What I saw was, it appears to me these guys all really do desperately love. Like, they're not just saying it. They actually are a bunch of single guys who really want to fall in love with you, and they want you to fall in love with them, and they want to find the one, and you are clearly the one in their sights at the moment. But there are 25 of them. It's got to be strange to be the object of 25 men's desires on television, on camera the whole time, and to try and treat them decently, where it's a bit of a meat market. I mean, essentially what you're doing is you are canceling one person or 2 people, depending on how it goes, every single week. That's messed up.
Maybe to you it is, but to me, I feel like it's actually a representation of how women already navigate the dating sphere. We meet multiple guys. It's only a psychopath when it's a woman, but when it's a guy, it's like, oh.
No, I said the same thing. No, don't bring your sexism here. I said the same thing to the guy who was the Bachelor. It's weird for guys as well to have these 25 women clawing for your attention.
I mean, I feel like what's weird is it's on TV, and what's also weird is they live together, that is definitely not a normal setup. Other than that, like, you know, I feel like we're all just dating and figuring out who our person is anyway in real life. And I think our perceptions of, you know, what it is to normally date in 2021 are very different. I mean, there's different versions of a public space. People on Tinder, hey, I can see you there. I know you. What are you doing on Tinder? That's also another public space where you're putting yourself out there. You can literally bump into someone flirting with someone at the bar and be like, hey, man, that's my friend. What are you doing? So I think there's different perceptions of public nowadays and different ways of meeting each other, especially during a pandemic. I was like, when I got the call from Mnet and they were like, hey, do you want to be the Bachelorette? I was like, well, this packet of chips that I'm eating in bed and the series I'm watching with a face mask on can definitely miss me. I need to re-enter the dating pool. And with coronavirus, I'm not going to be going into bars, talking to people. I don't know you. I don't know if you've got the COVID. I'm not going to talk to you. So
how does it work? Because I think that a lot of people are living vicariously through the show because it's very hard to meet someone now. Now it's probably harder than ever. And if you are in your 20s or 30s and you're keen to meet someone and maybe settle down, maybe have a proper relationship with them, or even just flirt and, go out on a date or two, it's damn impossible at the moment.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people are watching. They're watching the show and they're putting themselves in your position, and it's kind of a bit of a fantasy.
Yeah, and for me, I really hope that people get a chance to re-spark their love life in some kind of way, and just seeing someone trying to find love, trying to find the person who they're hoping to spend the rest of their life with. So I really hope that people's love gets re-sparked, that people can see that you can find love in a hopeless place.
Oh, preach.
Hopeless place.
Are you satisfied with the quality of the men that they gave to you? Because some of these guys are a bit strange.
And I'm a little bit strange too.
You're very nice.
No, but I'm also a little bit of a nerd and a weirdo in my own little goofy, awkward kind of way. And I think, what makes a person beautiful, obviously, it's great to have someone attractive drop dead from the get-go, from the outside. But if you're ugly inside, there's no point, hey? And I feel like my guys have character and they're charming and charismatic and just incredible in their own ways. And I love that they're all so different as well. My Mnet team really had my back when they went forth and did the most in finding guys for me, because I don't have a specific type. And that pool of guys really shows that I have like multiple things that I like about a person who is my endgame person.
Yeah, the reason I asked that is because I'm superficial as hell. I mean, I'm not really that interested in finding out about a person until they're first of all physically attractive to me. But it's got to be a bit of a weird situation, because you do have a whole lot of choices, not just in terms of personalities, but in terms of looks as well. And do you feel bad when you tell a guy, there's no rose for you, you can head on home? How does that feel to you? Because I think it's hard to do it in real life, but it's even harder to do it on television. The rejection.
Wow. It's interesting because it's not just me that can reject someone. These guys also have agency. They're also free to tell me, no, I don't want this rose, or no, I don't want to be a part of this journey anymore. So yes, I technically have all the power, but at the end of the day, it takes two. And if they don't accept my rose, that also for me causes me like a lot of stress. When I'm asking, will you accept this rose? I'm stressed because I'm also like, please take my rose. Yeah, and I think you definitely learn how to say no and how to let someone go. It's really difficult, and especially because I don't want the guys to think I'm saying no to them because of who they are as people. It's more about whether or not I can see a connection and a relationship with this person at the end of the day, and whether they can see that with me, which is really difficult, because when you break up with someone, it's kind of like, oh, you're attacking their person. But I try to be very clear to the guys that this isn't the end of the road. I'm just not wasting your time or wasting my own time and stopping you from finding the person who's actually meant for you.
they got to grow up too and realize they're on a TV show. I mean, for heaven's sake, if it doesn't go your way and you don't end up with the love fantasy you've built up in your head, it's also because you're on a TV show and you must go and carry on with your real life afterwards. So don't be a fucking idiot.
Qiniso, I think this is. No. I think this is a fair question to ask, and you can answer with it's not revealing too much at the end. But is your hope to be married after this? And if so, do you think this is the process in and of itself is sufficient and whole enough to actually find a viable husband?
Sia's asking a good question. Is that really what you want, or are you just also having
just a very good
the fact that
boyfriend?
You came with that track, loser.
No, we're here to support you.
So yeah, I'm definitely not planning on being married by the end of the season. I'm trying to find someone who I can date to the point of marriage, to the point of getting
and
to
then
that.
leave them, and then leave them at the altar.
Oh, Gareth.
Gareth, why you like this? Why you like this? So
Yeah.
in the morning also.
No. You know what? I've been on TV. I know what TV's like. I know how much bullshit there is behind the scenes, and I'm not swept up in all of this nonsense. I'll tell you straight up. I think there are probably a lot of those guys who are doing this show, and they'll put on a good act, or some of them won't even put on a good act, just because they're getting TV attention. And I think you can see through that. I watched enough to be able to get the idea. You're wise to this stuff. I think you can tell. Like, some of the guys are there because it's going to give them publicity for their stupid business or whatever it is that they're trying to punt. And some of them are genuinely like single guys who are looking for a relationship. But it's going to be hard to separate those people. And if you are in it for the right reasons, and I have no reason to doubt you, then it's got to be frustrating to see a lot of these guys just doing it for the attention.
It definitely is frustrating, and I'm definitely not stupid or, just blind to the fact that we are on a television show, and, it could be a means to an end for someone. But for me, my strategy from the get-go is literally to ask these guys to be authentic and honest with me and show them that I am being authentic and honest. And if someone can, go through a whole season lying to someone that they can see really has their heart in this and is really invested in this journey, then that's a psychopath.
Well, yeah, true.
Or they just really want to give their marketing business a punt,
Yeah, and hey, that's your own sin to bear at the end of the day. If you're gonna lead me on and string me along as a means to your own end, and you can see that I'm really in this and I really want something beautiful at the end of this, then that's your cross to bear. Hey, go to church on Sunday.
Do you think South African guys in general are good at dating? And do you think South African guys are charming? What could we do as South African men to become better at dating, and in order to impress the women that we are impressed by?
To be honest, I have no idea, and that's not
yeah,
much.
it's a bit.
Y'all have to figure that out amongst yourselves. But
thanks so much. So we're shit at it. We're not good at this, and you're not going to tell us how to be better. Thanks.
Yep. That's between you guys to chat through. You guys need to be like to each other. Oh man, why did Qiniso have to end up on a whole dating show to find a guy? Hey, seriously, what did we do, guys? What? How did we chase this beautiful queen away?
Put that on the men's conference agenda.
Yes, exactly. Next webinar, men, let's chat. Why do we suck?
What do you think the biggest mistakes are women make when they go on dates and when they're trying to meet a guy?
What do I think is?
And the biggest mistakes that women make.
I don't know, because
I would think that it's revealing too much. Sometimes you try to fill the gaps a little bit because the guy might be quiet or whatever. This happens with me on the countless dates that I go on, but I end up talking too much or revealing too much.
For me, it's like very ironic that I actually ended up being the Bachelorette, because everyone that I've ever dated, I pursued them because according to them, I was too intimidating to talk to, or, you know, so bubbly and so friendly that they were just like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I have game or if I can do this. So I've always ended up being the pursuant, being like, yes, you can talk to me. Yes, we can go out. Hey, what are you doing tomorrow? Let's go on a date. So now it's weird that I'm still in this position, in this journey of like saying yes or no to a guy in terms of affection and stuff, and establishing so many boundaries. So I've always taken the lead. So I'm not really sure, you know, kind of as
I
a woman, how
I
can
want
be
to
better?
take the Bachelorette idea and just take it one step further and have a show called The Blesser or Blessee. And you know how we get these, this is a South African thing. We are almost unique in the world that we have a whole category of people who are blessers, and we have a whole category of people who are blessies, and they're looking for a very different thing to what you're looking for.
Gareth, you're messy. You're messy. You're messy.
Qiniso, you know what I'm talking about. There are a lot of people who are not looking for this love thing that you are, and I'm willing to buy that some of the guys on the show are too. Hey, listen. Yeah, that's fine. And if people want it, there's no show for them to find their blesser or blessee. So I'm going to make it.
Okay, I support you if you need a presenter.
And literally, they walk in. You know, you could present this. There's no way I'm going to do it. So I'll just be in the back. You come on and you say, all right, all the blessers, put your car keys down on the table. And then the blessees come. And they walk up and down and they go, whew. Okay, I like
what if they don't have a car?
What, the blessers?
Oh, then he's not Cape. Then he's not like
you can't be a
contender.
You joking? It's all about money.
You need a property portfolio.
Would you be able to date one of these dudes on your show, The Bachelorette? Would you be able to date them if you knew that they were down and out and they had no money in the bank?
You know.
Good question.
If you don't have a lined up career and you don't know what you're doing and you're dilly-daddling, I've already been in that point of my life where I was also dilly-daddling and I got my shit together. So I need to have an equal. I'm not here to be somebody's mommy.
Here's a big difference between men and women is I know a lot of guys who, if a woman was unemployed, but she had ambition and dreams and she had hopes, but she just had bad luck and she didn't have a job at that time. There are a lot of guys who would date that girl, but there are very few women who would date that guy.
Hope doesn't pay the bills, though. Vision doesn't either.
Sia, we know you. Sia, let me just tell you quickly. Sia Sangweni here is the most superficial of all of us. Sia would marry an old man if he just has enough money.
I can make a little oxygen tank work, okay? I can move around that. Anyway, okay. Goodness, the last thing from my side is I wouldn't be the perfect wingman if I didn't say this. We at Cliff Central have a particular dog in the fight. Our viewer actually was part of our team. He used to work here, so we'd just like to say Avi was a great guy.
What, really? Tell me more. As this journey continues, tell me more.
Avi, he worked for us for probably about a year, right, Sia?
Yeah.
And he would come. He did say that he was really, you know, the Cliff Central thing was just a stopgap for him in between.
Wasn't he the one who was stealing all the toilet paper from?
No. Leanne.
No,
I'm kidding.
I thought you said you had a fighter in the ring, Leanne, but now you're hanging him out to dry.
Leanne,
I was gonna help him.
No. Time that
you guys are wingmen. You guys are the worst wingmen. You must know when to fly.
No, we're telling you here.
Didn't he used to park in the CEO's parking all the time?
No. Goodness, I've seen him carry crates, you know, just like
of toilet
paper 3 times his body weight. No.
Bad, real bad, Michael Jackson. Oh no!
All right. I'll tell you what. Aviwe was doing modeling as well at the same time, and he was doing some TV commercials and all kinds of. So he's a very successful dude in any case. But he was doing work with us in between. And we were going to offer him a permanent job. And then he said, listen, guys, I mean, this is not really where my heart's at. So I appreciated that. I thought that was nice and honest of him. And then we saw him in the ad for The Bachelor. We were like, wow, look at this. Here's this Aviwe that we worked with.
Of course, he's an honest guy. He has a job. He loves his mother.
Apart from Sia, who would not be entering The Bachelorette, there's no one else good looking enough at Cliff Central on the male side for you to have to worry about.
Somebody doesn't even want to turn on the camera, so clearly not.
No.
Let me just, I'm almost finished here, if you know what I mean. I'm almost finished, and then I promise you I'll switch it on as soon as I'm... I'll be right.
So I see what you think about my show, hey? I see what you think about my show, okay?
No.
All right. What's the most exciting date that you go on in this show? Is there something you can tell us about what we can look forward to in the next few episodes? Like what's coming up that you love?
Sure. Yeah, hey, you're just gonna have to stay tuned.
Because in COVID, they can't do these dramatic dates where they fly you to some faraway place, and because a lot of places aren't necessarily running at full capacity. So are they going to have to do like, dinner on top of the Mnet building or something horrible like that?
Okay, so nature isn't cancelled. So that's a fact. I love nature, so nature isn't cancelled. There's lots we can do outside, as you can see and have seen so far. If you've been watching, we've been doing a lot. And the funny thing is, no one can actually really tell how it's all in the same place. All the dates have been in the same place because we've been in a COVID bubble, and we want to protect everyone on the crew and cast. So we've just set up little dates and figured out ways of still doing something that's true to me. But
can you kiss them? I mean, they've all been tested for COVID, right?
Everybody went into quarantine before this, double swab tests, and the crew included. Shem, they're all so far away from their families, and I really appreciate them for giving that up to be on this journey. But yeah, there's definitely kissing. You clearly haven't been watching because a girl ain't being shy. You know what I'm saying?
If two guys got into a fight in the house and they're all living together, so if two of these dudes who are after you had a fight in the house, would the guy who won get extra credit in your mind, or would you be disappointed in both of them?
It depends, eh? It depends on what the fight is about. It really does. If somebody's insulting someone's mother or being racist, that's another chat. I don't know. But also, I just go, Jason, oh my gosh, they fighting.
Yeah, it's so sexy to have a guys fight over you.
Oh no.
Yes. Wrestle and tussle on the ground. Oh, I want to see a little bruise. I want to ice you with a pack of peas afterwards. Oh, Hercules.
My God.
Oh my gosh. What a great way to wake this morning talking to you guys. I'm thoroughly enjoying. You guys are hilarious.
No, we have lots of fun. I can't believe you haven't listened to our show before. I mean, really. You are complaining about me not watching The Bachelorette, and you're not listening to us. Even Stevens.
Don't be bad.
Listen, Qiniso, I think we're doing an awesome job on the show, and you're clearly meant for this role of being the Bachelorette. It's a pity you can't be like a serial Bachelorette, because you should do every episode and every season of this show. I think
hell no.
You're probably going to pull them, and then you'll want a new batch of 25 guys after this, because you'll be sick of these ones.
Just honestly, hell no. This has been every woman's dream and every woman's nightmare. Because no offense to men out there as well, emotional maturity is not a thing South African men work on. and develop. And then the women end up being the ones doing the labor.
I still find fart jokes funny. What's wrong with that?
No, that's fine. That's fine. But in a conversation about real life things and relationships, can you hold your own? And
who wants to have serious emotional conversations? Do me a favor. This is exactly why I don't date. This is why I'm single.
Yep, at least you know the reasons why you're single.
Talk shit about how you feel all day. God, how boring. All right, thank you. Listen, good luck to you. I hope one of these guys measures up to your exacting standards, because we don't want you dropping your standards to accommodate one of these losers. And in the meantime, we're going to be watching The Bachelorette. It's a great show. It's on Mnet. What time? When?
Mnet 101 Thursdays at 7:30. Woo! Hashtag Bachelorette South Africa. That's me.
You watch live, because ratings are not measured on catch up or on Showmax or on your recordings that you do on your PVR. So you need to watch it live so the ratings go up, because then they will pay more for the show next time, and they'll have to get Qiniso to come back after she's broken up with her then husband.
Oh, Gareth.
Please don't wish such things upon my soul. Hey,
you could get a nice. Which of those guys do you think has the most money?
Sure, I don't know.
Oh, come on. You know them better than Sia.
No, guys, I really don't know. I'll just go with Jason.
Where is
Jason? Doesn't count. He's the host.
What's Jason's story at the moment? Has he been with you guys the whole time, or is he coming in and out? What's his story?
No, he's been with us the whole time. The whole time. He's just been a really great big brother for the whole process. Now that's a wingman.
We like Jason. We've had him on the show before. He also doesn't take himself too seriously. He's got a good sense of humor.
Oh, he's so great. I love him. Yeah, he's great.
Is he married? What's his story?
He's definitely married with kids. Gareth.
Okay, I forgot about that.
Brother. Okay.
Oh,
I see what
incest is not the best.
No, it's not happening.
Well, listen. Good luck to you, and we hope you end up with true love. Someday your prince will come, Leanne. We'll eventually find one for you.
Someday my prince will come.
Why are you throwing Leanne under the bus here? Hi, boo.
She's got such a lovely, sexy cough. It's only a matter of time before someone comes running for her or running from her. Anyway, all right. Thanks, everybody. Have a happy day. And thank you so much. Qiniso, great to have you on the show.
Thank you. Thank you. Great to be here. Thanks for having me, you guys. Wish me luck. Prayers.
Yes.
Prayers up, guys.
Damn straight.
Hopefully next time I see you on the show, I'll have somebody next to me.
Very
yes, babes. I know.
Now listen, I'm going to let you go, because we got to get to George Meany, who's still going to join us. And we haven't finished the show until George has made it. And George is here in the nick of time.
I was wondering where he was.
I know. George was so turned on by your "Someday My Prince Will Come" that he
It's wrecked my throat, yo.
Oh, jeez. And I don't think you're joking there.
When we started the show this morning, were you really having a cigarette outside?
Yes. And I must tell you, now that we're on YouTube, the middle break isn't long enough for a cigarette, eh?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's only 3 minutes.
What do you get there? Like half a cigarette?
When I was watching ENCA yesterday with Sally Burdett, she was talking about the tobacco laws. And when they cut back to her, she'd been having a coughing fit, and she signaled the cut off sign. So when you move your hand across your throat, and she went, "Go to the next clip."
Oh
God! Like she'd been coughing on a cigarette smoke, right?
Yeah. So she came back and she said that was not a smoker's cough.
So speaking about that, while we're waiting for George, funny thing is, I read an article the other day, because occasionally, if there are people around, I'll smoke a hubley or whatever if someone's got one going, and I found out those things are actually worse than cigarettes for you. Certainly in this article I read.
The what's worse?
like those
Hubbly.
hubblies, the shisha.
Hubblies and vaping and all of that.
Yes.
No, man,
Apparently,
it's terrible.
much worse. Apparently, that stuff's worse for you than cigarettes.
Look, I think there's been a lot more media hype around it and highlighting deaths and hospitalizations. Whereas if we had to spend the same amount of time filming people who were dying of cigarette smoking, I still think cigarette smoking is worse. But look, it's the lesser of the two evils.
Well, George, I'm sorry it took us so long to get to you. We were stuck in a conversation there with the Bachelorette, which, as you know, is hugely important to our national security as a South African state entity. And if we didn't finish discussing all that stuff that was so important, so desperately important, we would have got to you earlier. But
how's it? I was listening, so I was. You were giving me a good laugh.
How are you, George? What's happening?
Yeah, I'm good. Well, back in my studio at home. I'll be somewhere interesting next week, and then
your sound quality is so good. Everyone else can take a leaf out of your book. You know, we had Rich Mulholland on this week telling us about how we could do video conferencing better and how people aren't using the technology at their disposal. I've got to give George massive kudos. From day one, George had the best sound, best camera, best arrangement at home. Everything is sorted out. He's been professional from day one. I'm sure it's an absolute pleasure doing video meetings with George.
Halala, George Mini halala.
I won't be that one fighting on the floor here.
No, you will not, George.
No, just before lockdown, as a matter of fact, just before lockdown, when the president was, or when the rumors were going around that we were going to go into lockdown, I think at the beginning he gave us like 3 days, was it?
Yeah. He made an announcement, then we had a few days to get ready.
Yeah, we had a few days to get ready. I shot out like a flipping flash to buy all this equipment because I realized that we were going to be spending all our time in here, and if you've got crap quality, you have the person on the other side has a bad experience, and then meetings become difficult.
I like the way you fashioned it around your bathroom so that you can actually sit on the loo while you're doing this.
Did I say anything about my bathroom?
That is not true, Leanne. George's sound is much better than yours. All right.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So what's happening in the world of motoring and in the world of cars?
Well, very interesting. This just has to be spoken about. In California, which I don't know whether California has anything to do with it, the Medical Board of California is investigating a plastic surgeon who appeared on a video conference for a traffic violation during a trial while operating on a patient.
Sure.
Jeez.
We shake our head at them.
We did watch that situation unfold. In fact, we spoke about it briefly yesterday, but the judge got quite upset.
Yes, the judge got quite upset and was hesitant to continue with the trial. And apparently, this Mr. Green said sometimes surgery doesn't always go as. And the judge interrupted him before he could finish his sentence, and said he's uncomfortable with this happening.
Rightfully so.
What if you're the person on that operating table?
Well, it's only going to be a matter of time before someone is driving a car while they're supposed to appear in court on a video conferencing app. So I wouldn't put it past people to do even dumber things.
Yeah, well, putting someone else as well. I suppose in a car, you're putting lots of people's lives in danger, I suppose. And then a report by J.D. Power. J.D. Power is a big research entity in the US, and
it's not PJ Power's brother, is it?
Nah.
JDPDP.
No, it's not PJ Power's brother. Yeah. Where is PJ Powers anyway?
Tandega, the living legend.
No, she was on your show not so long ago.
Yeah.
So JD Power put out a study that ranked car brands by order of dependability. It was called the Dependability Study. And what they do is they measure the number of problems per 100 vehicles experienced during the preceding 12 months by original owners of 3-year-old vehicles. So the highest ranked brand with the least amount of problems and the highest dependability is, and was in this 2021 study. Lexus, believe it or not.
Wow.
Second was Porsche. And then a brand that I wouldn't have thought would have got third was Kia.
George, I wouldn't have thought Lexus would be up there, frankly. I mean, I can't even tell you what a Lexus looks like, and I have seen them.
Well, they're the call it the Mercedes-Benz of Toyota.
Yeah, and this is for what, dependability?
Yep, dependability. The number of problems in the preceding 12 months for that particular brand.
Well, I wasn't going to buy a Porsche up until this study, so I'll go out and get one today.
Don't park it in your bathroom, Leanne. You can do video calls in it. It works.
Okay.
And then there's a couple of studies coming out at the moment for electric car road trips, and a lot of South Africans are concerned. You remember I had the e-golf last week. A lot of South Africans are concerned about range and the ability for cars to make the grade when it comes to getting from here to Durban or getting from here to Johannesburg to Cape Town. When I say I suppose there's lots of people from lots of places listening. So a particular study tried to measure the average of the cars available in the country at the moment and what it would take to drive to different provinces. And it turns out that the average distance that an electric car could do at the moment, if you take all of them together, the lowest being, in the range of the i3 and the Mini, and then the highest range or the longest range in the I-Pace. And the average range is 343 kilometers. So it turns out that it takes about 46 minutes or roughly closer to an hour to get the I-Pace's battery charged to 53% on a fast charger. And there are many fast chargers along the route. So a trip from Joburg to Cape Town in the average electric vehicle with charging would take you approximately 20 hours, and 4 hours and 8 minutes of that would be charging.
Yo.
Okay.
Joburg to Durban would take you roughly around 8.5 hours with 1 hour and 50 minutes being charging.
Oh, my word.
All right.
Johannesburg to Kimberley would take you around 7 hours with 1 hour and 32 minutes of charging. And that is using the average of between the Mini SE and the I-Pace. So I think we're getting there fast, to be honest.
It can't happen soon enough. I love these electric cars. I know you do, George.
I agree. And then finally, Gareth, the Gauteng government, I don't know if you heard, has taken a hard stance on e-tolls. So the Gauteng provincial government has made a formal submission to the national government indicating its rejection of the implementation of e-tolls. And,
Good.
And I think this e-tolls thing keeps coming up and never comes to an end. And hopefully that this particular instance brings this thing to fruition now.
Yeah, I think that's terrific. That's good news because these e-tolls have been hanging over our heads like a sword of Damocles for the longest times, and nobody cares about them. They're a complete joke. Sanrail has administered the whole thing like toilet, and I just think we've had enough.
Well, I think those gantries are really good places for a billboard. Billboards on the side of the road at the moment. You can actually look in front of you at a billboard instead of looking to the side of the road. So, turn them into big billboards.
Absolutely. All right, George, thanks very much. And thank you, Leanne Mole, Sia Sangweni, and most especially to you for joining us today. I'm sorry that my camera went on the blink again. I swear to God I wasn't in the loo, and I will try to resolve this issue by Monday. It happened on Wednesday, and I don't know what it is. It just suddenly the little green light goes off, and then I can't reset it. And if I restart the whole thing, we might not have a show at all. So you'll have to deal with not seeing me if we can't figure this out. Anyway, have a good day, everybody, and a good weekend. We'll see you on Monday morning at 6 o'clock.